Welcome to the Bear in Global channel. Ukrainian army began simultaneous operations on both the eastern and southern fronts. With the liberation of Kherson by Ukrainian forces, the motivation of Ukrainian soldiers increased significantly. In this process, victory operations began for the cleansing of Ukraine. Attacks on Russian army from both the south and east have begun. Ukrainian Air Force and artillery units are launching attacks one after another. All headquarters and communication centers of Russian army were destroyed. He received his first wound after Russian army retreated. In this process, Ukrainian engineers continue to strengthen the northern front. Belarus was very angry at this situation. The advance of Ukrainian army could not be stopped by Russians. Russia had very critical talks with Iran. While negotiations were being held between Moscow and Tehran, explosions were heard repeatedly in the Kakhovka region. The right bank of the Dnieper is attacked by Ukrainian army one after the other. It seems very difficult for Russian army to control the southern front. Soon war will continue only on the eastern front. According to the breaking news, Zelensky made statements about the Donetsk region that would affect the war. The tension at the front is increasing day by day. Luhansk Governor Serhiy Haidai officially announced the start of operations in the Luhansk region. Ukrainian aircraft have carried out 16 airstrikes on Russian forces in Luhansk Oblast in the past 24 hours. They neutralized 3 Russian anti-aircraft missile systems, among other targets. Haidai reported that Ukrainian planes destroyed 13 areas where Russian personnel, weapons and military equipment were concentrated, and 3 Russian anti-aircraft missile systems. Ukrainian forces also shot down at least 1 Russian Orlan-10 drone in the past 24 hours. The rocket forces and artillery of Ukraine destroyed 2 command centers of Russian forces, 9 manpower, weapons and military equipment, and 2 other critical military targets. With the start of the attacks in Luhansk, the first attacks began simultaneously in the Kherson region. Ukrainian defense forces neutralized 30 Russian soldiers in Cherveny Mayak areas in Kherson Oblast. It also carried out precision strikes that destroyed 2 tanks and 4 trucks. The command of Ukrainian southern operations, after the withdrawal of the main units of the Russian forces from the right bank, Russian troops blew up the bridges connecting Kherson with the village of Antonivka. Russian army carried out these attacks to block the advance of Ukrainian troops. Ukrainian defense forces continue to liberate areas in Kherson Oblast. During the successful offensive, the front units of Ukrainian army reached the right bank of Dnieper River. Measures continue to be taken to detect and destroy the enemy in various settlements. Cleaning has begun in the city of Kherson, he said. During the operations, Zelensky made very important statements about the Donetsk region. According to the breaking news, Zelensky evaluated the conflicts in Donetsk, where the war against Russia continues, as a complete hell. Zelensky stated that Ukrainian troops entered the city of Kherson, where Russian forces were withdrawing, and the people welcomed the soldiers with great joy, stating that the hottest conflicts continue in the Donetsk region, which is one of the front lines where the war continues in his country. Zelensky said, "It is a complete hell. There are extremely violent clashes there every day. We will completely overturn the Eastern Front." He took control in a short time. All the lands of Ukraine are from the Russians. He stated that he will continue until the war is cleared. As you know, Zelensky stated in his morning speech that Crimea will be taken under control again and that Ukrainian soldiers will be greeted with enthusiasm on the streets of Crimea. The start of the operation in 2 critical areas caused great movements on the northern front. Belarusian Border Committee made statements that Ukrainian army carried out attacks on roads and infrastructure facilities. However, the Northern Command of Ukraine published 4 photos in a very short time. According to the published photos, the roads and infrastructure facilities in the region are in good condition. Ukrainian engineers continue to fence the area for security purposes. The statements made by Belarus were therefore refuted. Russia wants to take control of the situation on the front after record losses. Increasingly motivated Ukrainian soldiers are launching very powerful attacks on the front. after the critical events, the most important contact between Iran and Russia took place. Russian-Iranian relations were discussed during the telephone conversation between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi. According to the Kremlin press service, he made a phone call regarding relations between the two countries. In the statement regarding the leaders' meeting, the bilateral agenda discussed a number of current issues related to the further development of cooperation in the political, commercial, and economic fields, including the transport and logistics sector, and the relevant Russian and Iranian departments. On the other hand, the amount of grain transported from Ukrainian ports within the scope of grain shipments exceeded 10,315,000 tons. It was stated that since November 2, 2022, when Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan announced that grain shipments would continue, a total of 51 ships went to Ukrainian ports and 21 ships left Ukrainian ports. Russia is still trying to block grain transit. United Nations and Turkey are making great efforts to continue the grain negotiations, but Russia openly withdrew from the agreement to derail this situation. It banned ships loaded from outside Russian Federation from entering the Kerch Strait. As of today, no ship carrying cargo outside the Russian Federation will be able to cross the Kerch Strait into the Sea of Azov. Information on this subject is given by General Directorate of Maritime Affairs, which is affiliated to Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure of Turkey. According to some information, such measures are due to the need to ensure the security of the Crimean and Russian lands. In fact, in order for the ship to pass through the Kerch Strait with cargo, it will have to be loaded into one of the Russian ports, otherwise actions related to an attempt to enter the Kerch Strait will be considered a violation by Russia. It is currently unknown how severely such a decision would affect the delivery of goods to the ports of the Sea of Azov. Despite the statement of Turkish Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Maritime Main Directorate, no official information was given by Russia on this matter. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Vershinin and United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs Martin Griffiths held a meeting today in Vienna on the extension of the grain agreement and the obstacles to the shipment of Russian grain from the Black Sea. In a statement after the meeting, Sergei Vershinin said that the problems regarding the extension of the grain agreement are still not resolved. Vershinin stated that there are provisions in the grain agreement for the supply of Russian grain to the world market through the safe corridor, but only Ukrainian grain has been shipped from this corridor until now. An item in the package has been implemented and nothing has been done. This is very important. The problems with the extension of this contract are still not resolved. 120 The contract expires on November 18th. We take all the conditions into account in the decisions to be taken, he said, reminding that Russian President Vladimir Putin had previously objected to the shipment of Ukrainian grain to European countries instead of poor countries. Vershinin said, according to the information received from the United Nations, grain is mainly exported to European Union countries and Turkey. Tensions rose after the announcement. We have come to the end of another video. We will continue to convey the events that took place in the coming hours to you quickly and accurately. We continue to report the events objectively to you. You can like the videos to support us. You can also subscribe to the channel to make it easier to follow new videos. I wish you all happy days. See you.